All right. Welcome to Raising Funds for World Domination, Day 98. So there's no updates on the intro. Today I did not work on any videos. I only worked on trying to get to my next milestone on the block mining simulation game. So might as well just continue on with that. Orthoplex 64 sends a wave. How's it going? All right, so let's check that this works. So today I this is my kind of multi-day distraction from trying to get multi-column character merging working, which led to some refactoring work that broke the UI. So now I'm kind of going all the way, doing work I hope to avoid earlier, which involves building a bit more robust kind of fuzz testing for merging the user interface layers together. So I'm just kind of building that from the ground up. So one of the things that's making me very slow that's because the test is different. It's called Run Screen Layer Fuzz Test. There we go. Okay, so I decided to actually make some visuals so I can actually visualize the layer merging process, because it's just so annoying to use the debugger and stuff, and I probably still will, but I can kind of, with this and the kind of fuzzing, I can just trim this down to like minimal cases and then use the visuals to figure out what's going on. Yoshikaka says, hello world, how's it going? How are we going to celebrate day 100? I'm not sure. I probably won't celebrate. I'll probably just try to keep working. Maybe I'll celebrate once I either eventually I will finish this screen layer merging refactoring thing, or I will go insane, because it's such a simple thing that I wanted to do that I thought would be fast, but it just keeps dragging on. But if I finish that, maybe I'll celebrate. I'll do something. I'll go outside or something. Can you make a first-person shooter game in the terminal? Theoretically, you can. There's questions about like how you would render it. So if you want to render it with like standard, ASCII graphics or something, you could like basically like render it. Like there are generic algorithms you can use to take like a generic image and then do like a best match, render it into like letters and stuff like that, so you can kind of see the figure of the shape. But that's not really doesn't look that great. Now you could with sixels. If you use a terminal that supports sixel graphics, then you can actually just render like arbitrary pixels right in the terminal, but those are not widely supported, which is kind of interesting because they're a fairly old concept. Food review on the 100s stream. I probably won't. I'll probably actually just still work on this so I can make progress and get it done. So this here is the layer over here, and then this here is the active states, and then this one over here is going to be for the change states. So this will help me this way I can just eyeball it and figure out why it's not working. Pretty sure several people have recreated Doom in terminal. Yeah, I think I probably have seen like text graphics versions, but however you render it, it would ultimately be limited by what you have available, whether it's sixel graphics or the regular, I don't know, what do you call it, column-based text graphics. Did you see Doom on pregnancy test device? I think I did. Seems to me I might have seen something like that linked on Hacker News once. OBK says hi. How's it going? Is our purpose in life to build a society that one day dominates the earth? And if so, will you tell me more? Especially curious about the domination part. Actually, I have a video on my channel. If you search my channel for my plans for world domination, it's one of my most recent videos. I think it's like four videos ago. It's a long form video on my channel. The thumbnail is me standing in a river, or beside a river. I watched it. It's interesting, but I have trouble understanding without direct interaction. Sure, I'll humor you. Dorian Dolan Merville says, good evening. How's it going? Did you have a follow-up question? I guess maybe you're. I think my world domination plan video spells it out pretty good. That's why I have all those AI generated images to make my my vision crystal clear. I'll trust it's well established in the video. BRB. Right, hopefully this will just work. Have you worked for companies coding before? Yes, in my undergraduate I did a total of 6 different internships at various companies. First company was a startup. Then I worked at another, it was like a mobile phone factory. We just pumped out mobile apps. The next company was a Forex market maker. And then the next company was NVIDIA. And I went back to Amazon twice. What are you doing? I'm currently working on improving the test cases. I'm improving the visuals of some of my test cases so I can actually fix the test cases and then also fix the bugs in my algorithm. And that's going to facilitate improving the efficiency of the outputting to the screen of my terminal-based video game. CEO says, hello, how's it going? Google account 1 says hi. What are you working on? Interesting video. Had to stop it halfway at the horses. Why horses? I mean, horses are pretty neat. Wouldn't it be neat to have an underground equestrian facility? As for what I'm working on fixing some test cases. I'm improving these visuals, which are help me visualize the process of merging layers. Layers of columns together, so I can end up with this output. And I'm building these unit tests just to debug what's going on. So this tells me which, it's a part of fuzz testing, some like a layer merging algorithm. So these, that represents the, every place it's colored represents a test case that's considered active. That if the active flag is set for that column, it'll be green here, and if it's changed at that column, then it'll be red over here, and then this is the output. And the goal is to fix the test case. So as you can see here, we got one failure, and in a minute here, once I commit this, I'll decrease the size of those virtual screens, and then it should be a bit more clear what's going on. Couldn't you gain grant money from horse enthusiasts to help start a horse foundation on the mainland to build income towards a society that's underground? Yeah, I think that's reasonable. It's I mean, everything, every idea you put out there is a marketing pitch. So if there's you're going to build what the people demand. So if there's enough investment for the underground equestrian facility, it's going to require a lot of money though to build an underground cavern that large. Okay, let's make test cases smaller. So I think I need at least 2 characters with this. Let's see what this does. Okay, those ones are all fine. The equestrian facility should be above ground and heated to save money. It's also a liaison point outside to the underground facility. It's extremely cold up there. If you look up the weather for Axel Heiberg, it's extremely cold up there. So I think it'll have to be underground. That'll help keep it heated too. Otherwise, the energy will it'll all just blow away, And it's also, so it's very high up at the Arctic Circle. So in the wintertime, you have like continuous darkness 24 hours a day for a very long period of time. So it's going to be very, very difficult, a very challenging place to build an equestrian facility. Why are you giving us suboptimal bitrate, Robbie Malad? I don't know. It's always like that. Nobody ever complains, but that warning randomly shows up a lot. Maybe a big dog facility instead. Maybe, but dogs are not quite the same. Also, what is this? Are you pen testing or something? Are you breaking into the mainframe? Currently, I'm working on my terminal-based block mining game, and I'm trying to fixing some bugs in the test cases. And then once I have the test cases built up a bit better, that will allow me to find the bugs in my layer merging algorithm. And once I fix that, I can make it efficient, because it's way too slow. Okay, we got our failure case. Happens on 126. The terminal block mining game is 3D, by the way. It's true, it is. Oh, nice. We got our first super chat. I think horses are kind of a bad idea, but I understand. It's instrumental to your vision. Yeah, I think it would be. I mean, you gotta go for something grandiose. It's got to be a really interesting vision to look for. I mean, we'll see. We could. It depends which is easier to fundraise for. What is going on here? I am working on test cases for my terminal-based video game. So I'm trying to debug why this layer merging process does not work correctly. So it apparently comes up with the wrong flags. Look into that. I think that's right. How are you going to gain world domination? I have a video explaining that. If you check my channel for my plans for world domination, I have some details there. All right, so this one has changed, and this one has changed, and they both have changed. Oh, nice. Got another super chat. Eight Green C sends $2. Java and its test suite. Indeed. Highly leveraged buyouts. Yep. You just call up a bank and you get the bank to loan you a bunch of money and you use that money to buy things, and you use that as collateral to buy even more things. Joseph Murillo says hello. How's it going? Dope AF, best of luck, brethren. Last bothersome inquiry. Is this a distro or is that macros terminal? My coding experience is editing FFmpeg scripts in Visual Studio. This is I'm using Ubuntu Linux here. I just use Ubuntu because it's easy to get stuff done. And the game itself here is there's a link in the description to the GitHub. Thoughts on Spring 4.0 changing its threading patterns to use green threads? I actually don't have an opinion on it. I don't know the definition of a green thread. I do recall seeing a Hacker News post a while ago about some like really surprising behavior with threads and like some subtle concurrency problems. And I don't know if that was related to green threads, but I remember reading about some really subtle issue people are having with changes in the behavior of threads. Join us? Join who? The viewers are way higher tonight. I wonder what the algorithm's doing. Bro, why can't everyone give me $1 so I can become a billionaire? You got to make some terminal block mining games. That's where all the money is at these days. Can you discuss race conditions from first principles? Depends how first principles. I mean, a race condition is something, I don't know the dictionary definition of it, but it's a case where the output depends on, the output is indeterminate. You can't say for sure what's going to be the outcome given full knowledge of the initial conditions of the system. And it just kind of ends up being, the output ends up being like in a specific, when you're running CPU instructions, it'll depend, your results will depend on things like, whether the threads get interrupted or whatever. It depends which thing actually goes forward, which event actually happens. And in terms of actually implementing like concurrency controls, there's two atomic instructions that are super important. And if you have one of them, you can implement basically any of the important concurrency mechanisms. So there's test and set and compare and swap. So if you have a CPU that it supports one of those instructions and it can do it atomically, then you can implement concurrency controls. And if you don't have that, if you don't have something that implements that in an atomic way, then you're kind of, it's a, you will have race conditions. I'm tired of looking at AI slop on YouTube. Well, you have to get used to it. The world is going to be full of AI slop now, and the AI slop is getting better. That's why civilization is going to collapse soon. No one's going to know what's real. Welcome, viewers. Yes, we have a lot of new viewers tonight. For your old experience with coding, how can I send bytes data, for example, an image, and sending raw text over sockets in the same time? I found this a little bit hard. How can I send bytes data, for example, an image? Well, if you want to send both at the same time, you're gonna have to read them in and like serialize them some way. So, I mean, the simplest thing would be like for the binary data, you could base 64 encode it or something. Or I mean, well, it depends on what. If you just have sockets, you just load the binary data and you send it in a message format. Like it does. I guess I don't really understand the question. It really shouldn't matter. You should just be able to load it sequentially, load the image, and then sending raw text over socket at the same time. If you want to like multiplex sending them, you could send like every other byte or something as one to the other if you want to make progress on both at the same time. Solution is to touch grass. Maybe. I mean, touching grass is one thing, but I mean, the other more significant impact is like getting away from the internet and interacting with real human beings. But the problem is everyone, like if I go outside and talk to someone, that person I talked to on the sidewalk has also been looking at AI slop in the internet. Are you like really dominating the world, or is this a video game? This is a video game, but I do also have world domination plans, and I have a video on my channel called My Plans for World Domination. You can check out the details there. Yarny, you can send only bytes. Data over sockets, send UTF-8 encoded text. It should transmit fine. Yeah, that's why I said I don't really understand the question. Like if you're writing sockets in like C or something, I mean everything is binary data in C. So you just make sure the message is padded correctly, and there's no distinction between text and binary. You just have to make sure you deserialize it correctly and have the packet sizes correct. Dominating the world with this video game. Yeah, I think I'll figure out a way to get this video game incorporated into my plan. What the hell is this? Can you explain? What I'm looking at right now is my development work, and I'm kind of distracted from. I'm working on some test cases for my video game. And yeah, and talking to chat. Thanks for your answer. No problem. Bitcoin mining stuff? No, it's the video game. It's about mining blocks of iron ore. So the UI is kind of broken right now. I guess I might as well just boot it up. And I can mine a couple of blocks. Actually, there's some videos. If you're interested in this, then you can check out my channel. I have some demos of the game. Hi, Eli5, what is this? I'm glad you asked that right now. So the UI is kind of broken. There's some issues. So the icon disappears sometimes, but if it was actually showing up, I got some issues with this screen layers merging. So the idea is you mine blocks in the game, and it's there we go. It's kind of showing up, so you can go down levels, and it's like a 3D. Oh wow, that's a weird, crazy bug. Yeah, there's an issues with the screen layer merging that I'm working on right now. But anyway, Yeah, there we go. There's my icon. So you spam the M key to mine blocks of iron ore. Or right now I'm mining rocks. But you can also find there's mineral ores, natural mineral ores that spawn in the game. I think he means sending over Python. Yeah, you can look into, I forget what it's called. There's like structs or something. There's a way. Yeah, Google that. Google like serializing structs in Python, and I think that might be what you're looking for. Like if you want to have a package a piece of binary data, like a binary variable with a string variable with an integer, and that can allow you, and that's probably what the sockets stuff uses in Python. Programmers need to deeply and intimately understand the code. 10 years of projects. Vibe coding will bring ruin. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what vibe coding leads us to in the future. Do you have experience with ADC chips, analog to digital conversion? Not really. I think I've used features that have like analog to digital conversion, but I'm not an expert on them. Most recent video was about 3 weeks ago. Watched it a few minutes ago. Most recent video was, I think, 3 days ago. Do you have capital? I'm an ex-game developer myself. If you don't have capital, don't bother with it. Games are not for money printing machines. Takes money, gives money. Takes a lot of money. Yeah, I'm aware of the capital investments necessary for building stuff. It's weird to just think that there are around 30 people who want world domination. Yeah, I think that's there's a bunch of problems going on in the world. Everyone would like someone to just step up and fix all those problems. I thought it was some kind of blockchain merger first. No, yeah, that's a recurring communication issue. I'll have to figure out a more succinct way to clarify that. But yeah, I don't do any cryptocurrency garbage or anything like that. If you can do 2-player, the mining action could be a combat move. Yeah, multiplayer it's on the to-do list. I have to get it working faster, and there's a bunch of issues to resolve before I get there, but it is in the long-term roadmap. Where are you getting these numbers? It was, my concurrent viewers it was a bit over 30 for a bit. My man is definitely not getting work done on the stream. Yeah, I guess the viewers dropped down a little bit, so maybe if I catch up with chat. It's kind of weird. The algorithm just decided to send a whole bunch of people here tonight. What's the investment you need for game development if you will make all the assets yourself? What's the investment you need? In terms of the game, for the game itself, there's no specific investment needed. I'm just working on it as I go, and I plan to use it more of as a like make money off of the process of it. So I started this. I had a bunch of stuff distracting me around day 1 or 2 of my series, just as an experiment to try like live streaming every day, and I've just happened to continue that on to this point. Well, actually, one of the monetization strategies is going to be, well, let me go up a bit. I'll show you. I really wish I had this UI fixed. It's horribly slow. I did some refactoring to make it faster, and then I ended up breaking everything, and let's see if I can find an OR pane. Oh, let's open up the help menu, if it'll even render. Okay, yeah, so in the help menu, there are different block types, and over time, I'm gonna probably have a feature. I'll probably like sell sponsored block types. So I did a Kickstarter in the past, and just got people to pay like $20 to sponsor a block type. So you could have your own type of mineral ore that's dedicated to you, and the dedication will be in the game. So if you wander around the map for a while, it's laggy. I can't move around easily, but you'll find some blocks of pyrite. And for now, I'm focusing it on natural mineral ores, and or anything with a CAST number, which is a chemical standard. And eventually I plan to have like recipes and stuff. So right now you can mine the blocks, but you can't do anything with them. So it's kind of pointless, and you can only make like 3 different pick types. But eventually, part of this like 100-day series has been building this framing system. Why use CLI? It would be much easier using Godot. I chose the CLI because it's something I would say I'm more passionate about it than most people. Most of my audience is interested in command line stuff. So if you look at my the content of my channel, mostly like my shorts and stuff, and some of my earlier content, most of my audience is like people who are interested in command line, and there are not a lot of there's not much out there for video games that are in the command line. So I think that's a unique selling feature. And I think that you alluded before that games require significant capital investments. So I think a really significant thing is the marketing. So anything that's like a unique selling point. Yeah, like even though it's kind of a bizarre thing to have a game that's purely in the command line, but I think that also makes it unique, because I don't think there's many examples of like a really extensive, interesting game in the terminal. But it also you can also you can run it. It also means you can run it in very constrained environments. And in the future, it's possible I could even the vision I have for it in the future would be you could even connect to it with like multiple clients. You could maybe have like a command line client, and then you could also have a 3D client, and both of them could interact with the same world. I do like terminal, Commodore 64, text-based strategy. Yeah, honestly, I have never played any of the terminal games. People have recommended a few, and I haven't really, I just haven't gotten around to looking them up. The text-based dungeon ones, I can't get into those. I don't like games where you're just reading stuff all the time. I want to have like an actual map area. Like I don't think I've ever seen a video game where you're like, and I guess the other kind of convergence is that we now have emoji characters in text standards, and those are actually supported by some terminal displays. So I think that there's actually kind of and that only happened recently within the last like 5 years, that emoji characters became supported in the terminal. So I think that's kind of a unique opportunity that has opened up to actually even make something like this. Definitely, I like it. Because I'm a developer. Yeah, I think the most fanatical audience is going to be developers. And then if you can get developers on board, then maybe I could go somewhere from there. But having said that, I'm incredibly slow at developing this, so it'll probably take me forever to even just get multiplayer going with what I have here. I like chill coding. Something very relaxing about this stream. Excellent. All right. Do you use AI for developing? I have not used AI at all in coding yet. I did actually try it a couple times with the was it Copilot? And people ask me about it almost every stream, so it's on my to-do list to actually experiment with it. I have it does kind of seem like it could be good for like boilerplate stuff. I probably should start using it more, but I just have been too distracted with other things lately, trying to get new videos out and whatnot. You're doing great. Keep it easy. Networking's not easy. Yeah, actually a bunch of the networking stuff I already have done. What I'm missing at this point is actually like the application layer networking. So I'm going to need some. Right now, there's no mechanism for like transaction resolution. So there's no concept of a game tick. And so right now everything's just like race conditions. So right now if two players try to mine a block, you could maybe, both of them would mine it. And what shows up in the database would be just a race condition. Are you a full-time YouTuber? Yeah, I guess I kind of have become a full-time YouTuber. Historically, I had also been doing software consulting on the side. But actually this year, filing my taxes was the first year where the YouTube income exceeded the consulting income, which is not impressive because consulting income collapsed to almost nothing. Remember how I said I make FFmpeg scripts in VSC? Or that they can barely get basic PS1 YTDLP batch file scripts as well. I would highly recommend against their use in any serious coding avenue. Recommend against their use. What do you mean by their use? I'm not sure what the word "their" refers to in that statement. Okay, so at coordinate 0, it's saying that it tried to merge that down. It is changed. And it came out as false, but it's actually true. And using Street VI. Actually, VI is symlinked to Vim, so technically I'm using Vim. actually, let me check that again. Okay, it saw the right thing, but it's expecting the wrong thing. I wish I can remember my terminal commands. You can, it just takes thousands and thousands of hours. What went into choosing Java for this project? I know Java, that's one reason. You can also think about it from excluding languages. So JavaScript doesn't make sense because it's I guess you can build desktop applications with JavaScript now, but doing stuff in C, doing like string manipulation in C was totally not an option for me. I've written enough C to know that it's not the right language, or C++, which really has the same problems. Honestly, I think Java is a pretty good language. Another option might have been Go. I've heard good things about Go, but I've never actually used it. PowerShell is like that, very verbose. I have a good project management skills, helps me. Having good project management skills helps me. Excellent. Developers. Learning Go is on my to-do list. Yeah, it's on my to-do list as well, but I'll probably never get there. Oh yeah, Python, that's a good question about Python. So Python, I think, makes sense if you're writing a small project. So if the project is like less than 1,000 lines, then Python makes sense. Or if it's kind of like a prototype or something. But if it goes beyond that, I don't think Python is not a good language. I like a lot of the checks and stuff. Like Java's more verbose, but the thing is, you actually get something for doing all that, for having all that verbose text. IDK, why this stream was recommended to me, but I want a brain fatigue break from C++. I guess the algorithm decided that you'd be interested. Man dunked on my whole career. Oh, with the Python thing. So can I extrapolate from that machine learning engineer? Yeah. Well, honestly, like I have also worked on some projects that involve Python for like machine learning stuff. And it involved like Jupyter notebooks and like it was very much about prototyping, and it was like very low fidelity prototyping, and the organization of the code was like complete garbage. So I think that is, for low fidelity prototyping, it makes sense to go with Python, and a lot of that numerical, like the kind of prototyping mathematical stuff, there's a lot of that for Python. But I have worked on some other projects that were Python projects. That did a whole bunch of numerical stuff, and it was just a nightmare. Like, it was just absolutely full of bugs. And that's why I think it's like, it's okay to use it for prototyping, but then once you figure out what you want to do, if you make your project go beyond a certain number of lines in Python, then the technical debt just becomes insurmountable. Python has quite sophisticated type hints now, if you choose to use them. Yeah, I've heard about that. I haven't tried them out. I'd highly recommend Scala. It's an absolute treat. I've had it happen where I edit for 3 days straight, 3 straight hours, and it runs perfectly. Rated in Pascal. I guess that's an option. Scala is like if Haskell made a bargain with the devil. Scala, I forget, is that like Java compatible? What was it? There's a few different languages that are like kind of adjacent to the like better versions of Java or something. But was it Julia? That's another one, I think. Actually, when I worked at a place, one of the developers there was really big on the Groovy language, which I guess I haven't heard about anyone mention that in years. If I had a limited time, I would mess with R for a lot of data science stuff versus Python. I've had to use Jupyter too. It's a sort of not quite Haskell and targets the JVM. Yeah, I've heard about it a bit. The thing is, there's too many languages. Like everyone's like, learn Rust, learn this or that, and I don't have time. But if I take the time to learn these things, then I won't actually write anything in what's already a pretty solid language. Oh, they're not active. That's why. So that should be dark. I also kind of have to figure out my own conventions here. Dimitri says, I farted a few days ago. Why did you take so long to let everyone know? See if that works. All right, that made progress. Oh, wrong file. It's very slow. This is 1,000 test cases. Too many test cases. All right, that works. Now I guess the next thing is to generalize it until it supports everything that the regular UI does. Oh, actually, all right, that should fail. Never made a game, but I noticed lots of games have a whole lot of less nested loops. Yep, there's lots of work to do. You gotta iterate over all the things. This may be refactored substantially. Actually, that's probably what I'm gonna do right now. I wrote this a few days ago with the thought in mind that I'd quickly refactor it, and then I just keep getting sidetracked by deeper and deeper details. Tech that never dies. And the problem is there's like the version, I already have a version of this game that works, but the problem is the performance is bad. So to make the performance better, I have to write more code, but then the code gets more complicated, so it has bugs. And I have to write more testing code, and what's up, Robert and chat? How's it going? We're currently working on, I'm probably about to maybe take these two long for loops, put those in a function. Is the goal for now consistent 60 FPS? My main goal is to get it like as fast as it can be. It's still like kind of laggy. Like even on a decent computer, it's still kind of like, I think I can get it to a point where it's like completely smooth sailing. So there's like no perceptible lag at all, which would be. I think that aspect of the performance, like if it's just laggy to move around, that makes the game like 100 times less playable. When did you start using Vim? How was the learning curve? I learned it so long ago, I don't even remember how difficult it was. I guess when I started university, probably 2009 or so. And I just forced myself to learn some of the hotkeys. And I actually, back in the day, I learned a lot more Vim commands than I even know now. And I always was looking up these cheat sheets for like random interesting new shortcuts and stuff, and then a few of them stuck with me, and a bunch of them I just never use. One of them is like a significant feature is marks. You can like set a mark on a random thing and like come back to a point and select between marks, and I always found the syntax too hard to remember, and I just didn't use that feature enough to retain it. I'm a weirdo. I use Sublime Text. That was quite popular. I think around 2014 or so. I think it got super popular. I tried it out. I didn't. I never really got why people liked it so much. James Goodrich says, not sure if you have the intent, but it'd be easier to store a pointer to the topmost layer for a particular position on the screen. I guess it depends. So every single point, what I'm doing is so if you have like multiple layers of like stuff that can be on the screen together, and those have to be merged together. And there can be some regions that are empty, and certain regions, there's only like subsets of regions that are being updated at once. And I'm also going to make it so that the regions can be different sizes and have different offsets, of arbitrary offsets. So you could have like imagine like 5 different sheets of paper, and some of the paper has like slightly smaller rectangles and stuff. And you just have to calculate what's the top layer at every single point. It's so there's not always the same top level, top layer. Plus, what's multi-position? Items possibly traverse layers. Yeah, with that's also another complication. I think I can deal with that. So like with multi-column characters, that's a problem because you can get like the general algorithm that I'm going to need, which is I think I can probably do it without. It's not that much more complexity. Is like cascading overlaps. So it's possible, like in the general sense, if I have if I have a 2-column character over here, if a 2-column character here on the top layer, and then below it there's another 2-column character here, and then below that there's another 2-column character, and then another 2-column character, then the behavior is like what happens when one 2-column character overlaps the other one. For what looks best in the UI, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the character below, so that's going to delete both the spaces, but it's going to inherit the background color and put a space where the other multi-column character was, because that's kind of the best UI experience. So what that would do is, for the top character, I could put one character here, and then you could have, as you merge the layers, there could be a cascading overlap that occludes a whole bunch of characters. Chat DC wrap on purpose. I do like long lines. It doesn't wrap so bad on my other monitor where it's has a bit more space. Right, that might work. Now, will this work? Only just swung by. Gotta head to bed. Gotta head out. Have a good night. Thanks for stopping by. right. That's not right. Reading says, hello. How's it going? Good. Just checking in. Yeah, the trend, the algorithm trend tonight was kind of strange. The number of viewers unexpectedly trended up very high to like 30 something, and then it kind of crashed back down, which is, I guess, good. Because I guess when I come on, I always think, I'm going to get some work done. And then sometimes the chat will get crazy. And then I don't do very much work. All right, let's try. See if this generic function works. Now, maybe this will work. New video. I'm going to send that to a bunch of people. And the video will stop getting views. Is that what happens? Why would it stop getting views? So that's the pattern when you send. So whenever you see a video that's getting lots of views and you send it to someone, that makes it stop. I think it seems to naturally, like, it'll trend a lot for a few days and then it kind of goes into a different part of the algorithm. I think what it does is it sends it to your existing audience and it tests how well it does with them. So like within a couple days, it seems like usually the graph, it'll almost look like parabolic, and then it'll level off after like a day or two. But then the viral ones, the real hit ones, would just kind of like I've had them before where they just kind of keep going up on a parabolic trajectory and then don't really seem to stop. And then my how to make a CPU video, that one has like 13 million views now. That one I posted that and it got like almost no views at all for 2 years, for 2.5 years. So there's some stuff in the algorithm that is inexplicable. All right, that'll make this slightly less complex. I hate how much code this is. This is supposed to be simple. $12:21 a.m. Yeah, it's the same time for me. All right, have a good night. McGD Xander says hello. How's it going? Good, excellent. Coding looks complicated. It's amazing how people like you can do this kind of stuff. Well, I have lots of practice. It's kind of one of the only things I've done for the past couple decades, so I better be good at it by now. Well, that's it's a decent bit of progress for tonight. I think the next thing I want to do is to actually take into account the position of the layers. So I added a thing in the last couple of days so that each layer has an intrinsic offset position, and then when they're merged, I will have to calculate the region, and then I'll do an intersection calculation just like in here. And once I do that, that's also going to allow me to completely delete this function. So I'll only have one merge changes function. That's going to be the goal. And then I can have a ton of really great test cases, and then I can aggressively refactor and simplify it. All right, so we'll leave it there for tonight, and we'll pick up tomorrow for day 99. All right, see you later.